Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Barnes here from Mind, Money and Marketing. Welcome to this week's show. And I have to tell you that I'm actually a little bit nervous about today's guest because he is a heavyweight when it comes to building businesses and display I mean, he's one of the most respected guys in the industry for a couple of reasons. Number one, because he just literally is probably one of the most experienced people in display advertising, PPC, all that kind of stuff. He makes millions, and I'm talking millions of dollars every month for his clients. But not only that, he's also the creator of one of the largest internet marketing groups on Facebook, which we're going to be talking about tonight because it's really interesting how that group all came about. But more importantly than all of that, he's just an absolutely super nice guy. I mean, how can you be this serial entrepreneur, make millions of dollars, run a massive group on Facebook, and still have time to just sort of hang out and chew the fat with people that you want to talk to? So, ladies and gentlemen, I need to introduce to you the very lovely Mike Hill.
Hi. Wow, that was awesome. Who are we going to be meeting today? Who is this guy? Seriously, I really
Hello, Mike. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Now, we do have a slight lag between myself and Mike. Mike is over in Montana at the moment, and I'm, of course, here in Thailand, and there is a very slight lag between us, so if we just sort of talk over each other every now and again, just forgive us while we just sort of catch up with each other and make sure that it's all working. So, Mike, where do we start? I would love you to begin by telling our viewers, just a little bit about how you got started in the industry. I know you've been in the industry now for many years, although you're a bit of a young whippersnapper. Or is that just a baseball cap? But if you could tell us how you got started in the industry and kind of what led you to where you are today.
Sure. It's kind of a weird story. So, well, I got started in the year 1999, I think. Ironically enough, my unemployment was running out, so I had to go get a job. I was like, I got to figure something out. I got to do something on this this growing internet thing because I kept hearing about it. I had friends who were, dating on it. I thought, man, there's got to be something here. So I started running out of unemployment. I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I looked in the paper, and lo and behold, there was a job as a receptionist for an internet company. And I was thinking, well, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be really cool. So I looked the company up, and come to find out they're actually connected to all of the top marketers in the industry at that time. Again, this is the year 1999, I think. So I went in, interviewed, and said, hey, I'll be a receptionist. They were only offering, I think, $6 an hour. I said, that's fine. But within a year, I'm going to be running your company. They laughed a little bit, and then when they were done laughing, they said, you're hired. And I said, awesome. And within a year, I was running the company. Within 2 years, I had outgrown the company and quit and started doing my own consulting.
That's an absolutely fantastic story.
Crazy.
So tell me, what company did you begin with? You've done lots of display advertising and paid advertising over the years. Is that how you started? Is that kind of what you started doing?
Well, that's a great question. The company that I was working with at the time, I was hired by a company called AdNet International, which was out of Chico, California. I was hired by a guy named Declan Dunn, who is one of the great grandfathers of online marketing and affiliate programs, an amazing person. He trained me, him and another gentleman he was working with, Patrick Anderson. Both those two trained me in the beginning on how to do what they were doing, which was selling ebooks. They were doing this thing called ebook sales, which was a new thing, to sell a book for $67. Turns out sevens were the magic number back then, still are today. Anyhow, long story short, at about 6 months into the working with the company, I said, this sucks. I hate selling ebooks. I quit. And the guy looked at me, who's running the company, Patrick, and said, please don't quit. You've got a lot of talent, but maybe this just isn't the right thing for you. I said, no, this sucks. I hate selling ebooks. And he said, well, what if I taught you how to buy and sell traffic? I said, well, what the hell's traffic? And he said, well, buy a banner for $1 and sell it for $1.10. I said, sign me up. Tell me how to do that business, because I'm totally down with that. But selling domain names and the ebook thing, that just did not resonate for me at the time. So he taught me that over the course of the next couple months, and then I started doing what's called arbitrage. I decided to figure out if there was a whole bunch of MP3 traffic at the time. There was a lot of people looking for free music. It was kind of rampant back then, and no one wanted all of this MP3 traffic. So I figured, you know what? If I can turn that into money, I can turn anything into money. So I figured out a way to. It's called arbitrage: buy low, sell high on the traffic that no one wanted, and that started my conversion and traffic career, if you will. And then after that, it's just been. Everything's been easy after that. Once you can figure out how to get people want to steal stuff to give you money or to make money in between, everything else is gravy.
So when it comes to the world of display advertising, is the most important thing the actual ad and the message, and whether you're a good copywriter and good at grabbing people's attention, or is the more important part the back end, the conversion side?
I'd say that they both go hand in hand, but more appropriate, or more important, I should say, actually a more appropriate way of saying that question is which. Here's the thing. You can have a high converting website but a crappy ad, and will attract the wrong user to the high converting website, and it will become a low converting website. You can have a really great ad driving people to a crappy converting website, and it still won't matter. So I'd have to say, if I was to choose one or the other that I could possess as if I had one magic wand only, it would be on the traffic, on the landing page side. If I could do any one thing, I'd wave the magic wand on the landing page side, and then even if I did a really crappy job, I could still buy traffic and still make money. But if you had only the ad side, it would be a lot more difficult. So, it's a balance for sure. But there is a lot to be said for the ad side and generating the right traffic. As an example, in the year 2001, we were driving a ton of traffic for a software download company, and we found that we had been sticking with all of our same ad principles, which were less copy, call to action, high click-through ratio, screw everything else. And then I just decided one day, I got a hair, and I'm like, what if we just put a bunch of copy and a lot of words and a huge description, what was called the eCPM, or the effective earnings per 1,000 impressions of that banner display, tripled the effective CPM of those that had higher clicks. So we got less click volume, but we got higher quality traffic, and after that kind of changed everything, because I was really just more for massive amounts of clicks at first, and then I realized, gosh, if we qualify that, we can really make a lot more money.
So what takes you from where you were to being able to generate millions of dollars for different customers and clients, Mike? The question I'm really asking is it over the years you've just learned more and more, and you've practiced and you've tested and you've tweaked and you've tried different things, or, and this is a difficult question to answer because I know people are nervous or are reluctant rather to big themselves up, do you feel that actually you have a bit of a unique ability to be able to very quickly determine the type of ad that's going to work in a specific market and the funnel that follows?
Well, that's a damn good question. If you had asked me that question last year, I would have given you a completely different answer than I'd give you right now. Frankly speaking, first you asked what has led for me to be able to buy from my clients. What's changed, or has anything changed over the first years? The answer to that is really not a lot has changed. You can do the same thing you could do now as you could back then. As far as spending or earning, 6, 7 figures, whatever your goal is. The difference between a multi-million-dollar monthly campaign and a campaign that generates $10,000 a month isn't that big. The biggest difference between the two is what is the mindset of the business owner and what's the scale capability of the website itself. Once you have a good, refined marketing message, meaning you've got the right connection of copy and keyword and your advertisement correlating to the copy and triggers, if you will, on the landing page, then the only inhibitor to scale is merchant processing power, which we've had our fair challenges there. and scale of team who can create new ads so that you have a proliferation campaign where you have a lot of different types of ads, because eventually, ad saturation becomes a huge component. So the direct answer to the first part of the question was not much has changed. Same stuff, different day. You just got to kind of roll with the flow. It doesn't really matter. Once you learn the skill, it doesn't matter what year it is. It could be 1999 or 2001. People will say, hey, this is the greatest time in the world. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, the only thing that really is the large contributing factor to timeline in 2001 to 2013 is competition. There was less competition, which means ad costs were lower. That is a factor, but it's not as big a factor as people would like you to believe. The second question you asked was about specific skill sets or unique ability, as Dan Sullivan calls it. Yeah, I do actually think I have a unique ability that I haven't seen in many others, but I don't think it's something that can't be fostered or created. I think it's something that it's something most of us intentionally tune out, and that is compassion and true understanding of human nature and humor, true understanding of your fellow human being. I see a lot of people who will go into these quasi. Let's think about who our prospect is. Well, he's a 27-year-old male who drives a Toyota. Da, 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 da. That doesn't mean anything. What is his true pain every single day? What is the internal thoughts that he has that he's not even conscious of and won't even admit to himself, his wife, his kids? What is the true psyche of your consumer? And once you can understand and empathize with them, then you can create ads, programs, conversion rates that will just trump anything any of your competitors can create, because you're willing to have that subconscious conversation with him that, and a lot of times, he won't even or she won't even be ready to have. But the fact that you know that puts you at an unfair advantage.
I love the fact that you've mentioned the word compassion, Mike, and I'm going to be coming back to that because that's actually here on my notes. I've written the word compassion when it comes to you, because I do find when I'm watching your videos or looking at some of your posts in Internet Marketing Super Friends, your compassion for people is above and beyond much of what I've seen from many other people online. It blows me away.
Well, thank you.
So we're going to come back to that. Before we go on to that, though, I do just want to stay on the technical side of display advertising just for a moment. A lot of the people watching this will be solopreneurs, small businesses, small budgets, very small budgets to be able to go out and start their advertising campaigns. If you could give 3 actionable tips, Mike, that people could go out and begin to use today when it comes to paid advertising. So I'm putting you a bit on the spot there, sorry about that. But if you could, maybe not 3, but any sort of key actionable tips people could start using, what would they be?
Well, I don't think it's going to be anything new, which unfortunately a lot of your audience is not going to appreciate. We're always, as human beings, we're pre-programmed to look for the new and the shiny for 2 reasons. One, to be able to find food, to be able to procreate, and to be able to defend ourselves. You have to always look for those new things. My challenge to your solopreneur would be to fight that human instinct and to use what you know you need to do to get the job done. Now, with those 2 things being said, Facebook newsfeed ads, there really hasn't been an opportunity like that in a very, very long time as far as click-through ratio, effectiveness, ability to drive, the targeting capabilities that Facebook has, the data overlaying capabilities that they have. It's disgusting to the extreme. And for me, if I was a solopreneur, you can start with Facebook with such a low budget that even for myself, we had a shift. Months ago when the newsfeed ads came out, we're like, okay, budget over here, because the return on investment is so huge that it can't be ignored. So my one big thing, if you take nothing else, which I'm sure you've already, you know this already, Joe, but get really, really, really good with Facebook newsfeed ads yesterday. and capitalize on this moment, put some money in the bank for yourself so that you can, and have some success, because once you have a couple of first ad successes, after that, you've got the cojones to be able to go out there and play ball in the real world, because it's not all going to be like newsfeed ads. Newsfeed ads are currently for return on investment, low cost per click, etc. Put that success under your belt now while you can almost guarantee it. I mean, you'd have to be really, really bad not to make newsfeed ads work.
And do you send people, when you're doing your newsfeed ads, obviously lots of people have heard the term inbound marketing now over the last couple of years, do you still advise that that's the best route, that you send people from newsfeed ads to content or to landing pages, and then obviously take them through a funnel and warm up that relationship before you make any offers or sales to them?
Okay, there's two schools of thought with this. One is sending newsfeed ads directly to the video sales letter, the VSL, and the other is to the email sequence. My preference, personally, is to always engage the customer for future relationship. I don't believe that you should necessarily just hit that VSL straight away, because I do think that while it might make you a higher conversion ratio at day 0, if you look at the conversion ratio over the long run, you actually make way more money. You actually make a lot more money by actually courting the customer first versus disenfranchising them with a long-form video sales letter. I've run both. I have one client who does run the VSL, and we advise them, get your autoresponder sequences in order, get your long tail in order, because they already know this. They already know this, that that is not a long-term plan. It is a temporary thing, and it's only frustrating the audience against their brand at this point. I mean, it really would depend upon how you create your video sales letter if you're going to do that. But to answer your question, I've run both. I have seen success with both. And my preference still lays in inviting people to, I call it a hand and trust offer. Invite them to join you in a hand and trust offer. You say, hey, look, I'm the guy that would like to help you. If you would do me the honor of letting me send you these emails, I will send you, 6 emails that will contain the training and information that you need. If you'd like that, then we can continue from there and see where it goes. I think just this is the age of genuineness, and unfortunately, in a lot of the VSLs and other direct-to-sales mentality approaches I've seen, they don't resonate with this generation of consumer.
Okay, let's start moving in that direction then, because this is going to start leading us to talking about Internet Marketing Super Friends, which I'm hugely intrigued about where that all came about. Before we head there, though, I just want to touch on email marketing, because you were just saying, obviously building that email relationship. So what's your view today, these days, on email marketing, whether it's still as effective as it once was, or still effective in itself, versus now beginning to build your community on social media?
Okay, so just to clarify, well, no, I don't need to clarify, I'll just answer all of it. So here's the thing. Email is more effective now than it was in the past. People will argue and tell you that it's less effective. That's crap. It is less effective for people who are lazy. Email will always be less effective for the lazy. The exceptionally lazy, it will be more effective for, because those are people who don't care about legal rules and they don't mind breaking the law, i.e. spammers, etc. However, with Google leading the charge on consumer engagement at an email level, with the new algorithms going into play, there's just so much technology and behind email analysis, that if you get true engagement with your consumer, with your emails, many of the email service providers will recognize that. The problem is that most of the most of the businesses will not care about the consumer to the point that they will actually be practicing good list hygiene. And when you don't have good list hygiene, when you attempt to send out an email to 100,000 people and only 1,000 of them open the message, or whatever that very, very low percentage is, the email people see this, the ESPs, email service providers, will see this, and therefore cut you off and not enable you to get your message into the remaining inboxes. So I think that email is a huge opportunity. I think it's an enormous opportunity. and that can't be ever dismissed, but it will be dismissed by those who are too lazy to take the work or spend the time educating. And if that offends people, then so be it. But there will always be those of us who will not be lazy, and there will always be those of them who will be lazy, and they just make our job a hell of a lot easier. Now, with social media, that's different. Do I think that email versus social media? I think social media has an incredible reach, and I mean this is proven through even I use it. I've created a group. It's a fairly popular group. I try and stay engaged in many different social media platforms, but I don't know. I mean, and it can be its own business model, but I don't think I would ever recommend to a client that it be the sole business model. It is, like all other media, one media channel. It is not necessarily a media model unless you're, Chad, if you're edgerankchecker.com or you're building a software as a service type of company, then that changes the discussion. But for most of your listeners, readers, I'm guessing most of them are just, not just, but are marketers that are using each of these different platforms as a way to get the message out. They definitely cannot discount media, or email in lieu of social media, because if things change 2 years from now, guess what? You still got your list. You can still reach out there. If the algorithms for EdgeRank change and all of a sudden your engagement with your list goes down, like look what happened for us in the last couple of years. Now you're gonna have to pony up a little bit to be able to reach your entire list that you have with your likes. The economics of social media are so at their infancy that to invest all of your effort, energy, and attention into something that's that young probably wouldn't be a wise decision from my perspective, but that's only because I understand the other options that are available.
Would you have both? Would you ever advise a client, look, I want you to build your email list, but while you're doing that, I want you also to be saying to those people, hey, come and join my group over on Facebook or join my community on Google? So that,
yes,
yeah,
we do all of it. We have a proliferation attitude, which is more is better. So we advise our clients to we have a Facebook page. We want to get the likes when we have the news feed. We've taken into the hundreds of thousands of likes for, and not those kind of I love X type of likes, but more genuine likes for passionate subjects for businesses. And so we do advise having a Facebook page. I have not had any of my clients create groups yet due to messaging difficulties for groups, but I do think that groups are very, very powerful. I just have not yet advised any of them to create groups. I'd rather them focus more of their time and attention and energy on back-end processes and converting those customers into higher upsell programs so they can generate more cash flow to be able to purchase more media to be able to affect more people with their message.
I think one of the issues with groups, they're absolutely fantastic for building community. There's a real community feel that starts very quickly in a Facebook group. But one of the challenges is that if you want to get your message out to as many people as possible, then really you need a page, because it's the page with which you can set up your advertising campaigns and actually get your messages out, whereas, like you just said, the messaging capabilities in groups is limited right now. So.
Absolutely. Completely. I mean, you can pay for it, of course, like many have done. Pay for advertising, to your group if you have that ability. But it's not the same. It's nowhere near the same.
So, talk to me a bit about Internet Marketing Super Friends, Mike. I want to touch on this element of compassion, and I know that when you started Internet Marketing Super Friends, and you'll need to educate me as to exactly when that was. It wasn't called Internet Marketing Super Friends, was it? I believe it was called Ethical Marketing.
Yeah. Actually, I don't remember how many years ago it was now. I think 2 or 3 years ago now. I was really frustrated with the direction the industry was going, and because it's cyclical. I'd seen it before. I'm sure we'll see it again, unfortunately, where it usually happens in between regulatory slaps meaning that the industry will come through, and just like 2003, there was the Can Spam Act, and that shook the industry up a little bit and cleaned it up for just a little while until everything got nasty again in a different way. So the reason I created ethical marketing was I wanted to be able to show people that there is a way that you can market to your consumer and still feel good about being a marketer. I think that there's a real, I don't know how to say this. There's a real calling for those of us who are marketers, where we are drawn to help spread other people's words. Now, I don't know, why we have that feeling inside that we're just drawn to sharing like crazy. But I can tell you that it's not supposed to be used. It's a power that is given to us. It's not supposed to be used the way that many people will use it. And I remember when I first got into the space, I remember looking at other people around me going, that can't be right. That's not right. Is that even legal? And having other people say, yes, everybody does that. And in my stomach, I thought, well, that shit just ain't right. I mean, that doesn't. What? Seriously? Anyhow, long story short, it turned out to be something that was later on, passed as illegal and other things like that, just because there are new precedences that are being set, and even things that aren't necessarily illegal but are, immoral at heart, are allowed to infest our culture online and our industry. So I wanted to be able to show folks, look, you can do things the right way. You can create happy, ethical marketing systems, and you can give and not worry about taking, and they'll give back. Unfortunately, when you call something ethical marketing, people, it's like saying, slow car, no one wants it, or 100 miles per gallon car. Everyone looks at it and goes, well, look at the first invent of electric cars in this country, at the very least. People turned their heads away from them because they weren't sexy, they weren't fast, and the same thing happened with my ethical marketing group. So then I just decided, that's not working. I need a badge. I need something everyone wants to be, something people want to aspire to. So I started applying the psychological principles that I applied to my clients to this desire to create something, more for our industry. So I thought, well, I'm kind of a superhero freak. Let's create a group of super people. Why not have a whole bunch of friends to get together, and we'll call them super friends. And I thought, well, internet marketing super friends. Let's see what happens with that. So I threw the first 1,000 people in the group who were friends of mine from Facebook, because back then, I don't know if you can do it now, but back then you could just dump all your friends into a group. So I was like, all you suckers are coming with me. So I threw 1,000 people in there, and then nothing happened. Nobody came. For like the first year, it was very, very quiet. The crickets were chirping. But there was me in there, answering questions and just holding that flag. Okay. Any day now. And then one day, this guy that I kept seeing across the internet, who's like, kind of stalking everybody, but he was a cool guy. He did it in a cool stalker sort of way. He's always the guy that was there to say something cool, nice to you, and all this other stuff. His name was Seth Larrabee. Seth all of a sudden invited everybody he knew and said, look at this great resource I found. So he dumped another, I don't know how many hundreds of people in. And when he did that, it really, because his social engagement was already so high, so much higher than my own, that he really became a catalyst for the group's growth. And ever since then, it has been nothing but skyrocketed in popularity and in usefulness.
Over 6,000 members you currently have, which is absolutely huge. And I think I saw a post the other day from you saying that you had something like 9,500 requests to join.
Yeah, I think it's back over 10,000 again. It happens fast, so fast.
Gosh. Absolutely fantastic. But just staying on that kind of ethical marketing, I see lots of people, actually I don't see it so much these days, but I did a few months ago see quite a lot of posts that would come through Facebook from different marketers saying things like, I'm going to change the industry, the internet marketing industry has got this exploitative nature, and we're gonna get rid of all these guys that are basically taking the mickey out of customers and rah, and we're going to change the industry because we want to see an honest industry and blah, blah, blah. And in fact, I had a conversation recently with somebody who was on Google Plus. That's an interesting conversation to have about Google Plus, and he was saying that internet marketers really aren't welcome on Google Plus. Google Plusers, who are the elite, believe that internet marketers are, they're really just not welcome on Google Plus. And I'm quite young in this industry. I've been here for the last 3 years. And do you know what? Most of the people I see online marketing and selling their products are fantastic. I think their messages are great. I think the way they market is really great. And I don't know whether I'm just somebody that tends to see life with rose-colored, spectacles, but I rarely see, you get the odd one, the odd one or two, but the world is so transparent now. Social media makes it so transparent that I actually believe that the ethical marketers are now very much the minority, and people who actually really do care about their customers and really do want to do the very best and give the very best education and training and services are actually the majority now. Would you agree with that, or am I just looking at it a bit naively?
I agree with you that I think that we're the majority now. I know that there was a time not so long ago when, and keep in mind I'm looking at a 14-year time window, so for me, not so long might be long for someone else, but there was a time not so long ago when that wasn't the case, but I do think that thankfully, due to social media, and the tribal mentality of our group, not meaning our group, I mean just the group of internet marketers, I think that we've reached that 100th monkey thing where now in a tribe of 150,000 monkeys, when the 100th monkey says, this is it, we got to do things the right way. This is the new exploit. The new exploit is honesty. There's a blog post, Graham. The new exploit is honesty. I always tell my blog post to Graham, Graham, I gotta make a blog post for that. But I mean, seriously, that's really where we stand right now. Where people are. That's where we're at. So I think you're right. But I want to just say one thing to your statement of, are you seeing life through LaVey and Rose? We all naturally attract that which we focus on. So the fact that you see the world through those rose-colored glasses just means that your interaction with the world is rose-colored, and that's the way that it should be, and that's the way that we like it to be as well. That's why in the group we have such strict rules: no negativity, no antagonism. When we create and foster that light for everyone else to bathe in, appreciate, to emulate, you end up just having and attracting a whole bunch of like-minded people, and even those that may have been on the fence are like, you know what, I'm not going to go that route because I see what Joe Barnes is doing. I see, what Casey Zeman is doing. I see what Taki Moore is doing. I see what whoever you may choose, Marie Forleo. There's some really great people making really great strides. Helping an incredible amount of folks find whatever it is that they need in life just by being themselves.
Well, one of the things I love about you, Mike, and I don't mean to blow smoke up your bottom, but one of the things I love about you is that you're somebody who is doing while so many other people are talking. And if there's something I try and say to my students and my audience a lot is, it's about just getting out there and taking action and just doing something. Almost doing anything just to start to create some momentum in your business, as opposed to just constantly kind of talking about things and having things in your mind. And I mean, the Internet Marketing Super Friends is such a reflection of you just getting out there and and saying, you know, I just want to do something, I just want to start something, can try this, and see what happens.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it really wasn't a lot. I didn't really do a lot. I mean, honestly, Joe, like I said, I stood there with the flag and just waited. I just freaking
What's your
waited.
goal with it, though? What do you want to achieve with it? What's the kind of long-term vision for Internet Marketing Super Friends?
Frankly, I didn't have one. I really didn't. I mean, I just put the flag up. I stood there for the longest time, and I really didn't have a goal with it. I'm at the point now where I probably should do, you know, something more with it. And you cannot. I have had so many people tell me, if that was my group, I'd do this and this and that, and they have all these marketing plans, and I'm like thinking, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It can't be like that. I can have it have legs, and I can have it expand, which I do have some plans. You know, I have an app plan for the group to help people be able to find content better. I have the newsletter, which Graham and I were talking about. Unfortunately, I'm traveling last month, so again, pushed it back more. I'm going to hire someone to you know. I keep putting money into Super Friends, but I do need it to make money so that I can not keep funding my passions. But my goal would be to I'll just do it next month. I won't delay. I'll just hire somebody who's going to come in and take it over as far as managing it as a business, because I really am not managing it as a business. I'm just managing it as a group, you know.
Because that's what it is for you, right? Just a passion. That's what the group has become really for you. It's more of a passion than anything else.
It's always been a passion. I mean, I have my coaching business. I have my ad agency. I don't make any money from the group. I just, you know, in fact, it costs me money every single month. I mean, no, last month actually it did not lose money last month, but every month before that. Well, I mean, if you talk about billable or whatever, anyhow, it is definitely a passion play. So there is, but I do need to treat it more like a business. But I'm very cautious and conscious of having it become a business and lose its group cohesion. That I can't have, only because I think it really does make a difference. I see people out there at events and they talk about it. Like yesterday, I was at Entrepalooza and guy walks up and says, "Hey, I've been hearing a lot of great things about your group. Da 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 da." Turns out it's freaking Vic Conant, the chairman of the board for Nightingale Conant, the guys who do all of the books for pretty much everybody that I love in the writing world. You know, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Napoleon Hill's book. I mean, just that was like a pinnacle for me. I'm like, wow, that's freaking cool, man. That means we're making real change when people of that level are hearing about the kind of change that we're making. You know, that we're making, not me.
Mike,
Sorry.
Your no, your whole kind of modesty, I suppose, on this is phenomenal. I mean, Internet Marketing Super Friends is it's one of the most amazing resources online. I mean, I can hardly go in there because I'll be in there for like 3 hours at a time. To be able to bring together a community of people who are willing to put that much time in, you know, I just think, I mean, I get it with my groups. One of the things, I mean, I produce all these products and I create all these training courses and I do all these videos and I spend hours and hours doing all this education, but the one thing that people come and commend me and say, "Thank you, Joe," is for the groups, is for the little groups inside my products. So it's always the communities and the groups that have the biggest impact with people, because people want to be a part of a community, don't they? But with Internet Marketing Super Friends, on top of that community feel, you've also, what I just find incredible is the sheer amount of experience and knowledge in there. I mean, the guys that are willing to, and this is a commendation for everybody in the industry that's willing to spend their time going in there and helping and supporting and answering questions, and you know, just off their own, you know, for free, for nothing. I mean, the education inside that, sorry, I'm getting very passionate now, but I mean, it doesn't matter what I do, all I have to do is go in there, ask a question, and guys that, you know, that have been in the industry for years and are hugely experienced will just come and answer and give some amazing responses, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. I saw a video on YouTube about, gosh, let me see. I guess it's been 5 or 6 years now, and the rabbi said, you know, I I think that the world is headed for a bad place unless we can get to a point where giving is the ultimate currency. Right now, shock and awe is the ultimate currency, and we need giving to be the ultimate currency. So after watching that, my vision was I needed to try and create an environment. My real goal would be to do this, recreate this globally. But I needed to try it, create an environment, at least at a smaller level, where giving can be the ultimate currency. And that was, and I used to say that a lot. And I haven't said it in a little while in the group, but it is. I mean, that is the place where, that's what we foster, and that was the intention. And I think that that's one of the most important things that's missing from business today is what is the intention of what you're creating. And the intention of what we created for Super Friends was the place where, in the group itself, it's the place where giving trumps everything.
Well, congratulations, because your intention has been absolutely realised, and I think anybody watching this who is part of Internet Marketing Friends will agree with me that it is a phenomenal place and very much a giving atmosphere in there. So, Mike, before we go, I would just like to ask you, over your years of being in business, I know you mentioned Declan Dunn, obviously, in the early days, but I always like to try and end these shows with giving our viewers, or asking you to give our viewers something inspirational, whether it was a book you read or a film you watched or a person or even a quote that you've heard that over the years you've kind of lived by, that's really inspired you, that you can share with our viewers and listeners as something that maybe can inspire them also.
Oh God, uh, boy. See, that's the stumper question. Only because there have been so many things that shape each chapter of your life, and when you go from one chapter to the next, it's usually one of those catalyst conversations that you have. That even if it's a conversation with self, conversation with someone else, conversation with an audiobook, conversation with a movie, there's some catalyst that moves you from chapter to chapter, and that movement from one chapter to the next is never, it's not necessarily more pivotal than the preceding chapter change. Each one has its own level of importance in the book of you. But I would say that one of the people who has helped me the most in my marketing career, that no one would ever imagine would be a marketing guru coach, was Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer's understanding of human nature and his understanding of acceptance of all, his Course in Miracles, was absolutely phenomenal. I can't tell you how many of his books I've listened to, but he alone has transformed my vision of self, which transformed my vision of others, which transformed my vision of marketing. So to be able to have that empathic marketing core, like I told you before, that was the one thing. I'd have to attribute most of that to Wayne Dyer. Not an NLP book, not a triggers book or any other crap. Most of that, honestly, I've never really finished an entire marketing book ever. They bore the shit out of me. I'm like, okay, this sucks. I don't want to be this manipulative ass that they're talking about in this book. I would much rather just go listen to some more Wayne Dyer, and I'm cool with just helping in any way that I can, and then everything just happens the way that it's supposed to. So my answer. If I had to pick one thing, one person, it definitely Wayne Dyer and everything and anything he's produced.
Mike, you're inspirational. You're quite humbling and inspirational. So I'm just quickly looking at my notes here. Okay, so a message to everybody watching now, Mike, as a serial entrepreneur, as somebody who is running right now several successful businesses, who is a very compassionate man, and who's also, gone out there and built and created an amazing community. What would you say to people who are struggling right now, who are really, really kind of want to get their businesses off the ground, but are struggling with self-esteem, or struggling with taking action, or struggling with all that kind of stuff? Have you got a message that you could give to people on something they could go and start doing right now to make a difference in their business?
Do they want the real answer?
Yes, definitely. Give it to them straight.
Anytime you struggle in life, it's a reflection of the fact that you're off path and you're not doing the shit you're supposed to be doing. Period. I mean, the reason why you struggle is because you are not doing what you enjoy. If you were doing what you enjoy and what you're supposed to do, it comes effortlessly and it comes without any thought whatsoever. Anybody I encounter who's saying, I'm having a hard time, I always ask them, what are you doing? Da-da-da-da. Well, how much do you enjoy it? Oh, it's great, but. What do you mean it's great, but? There should be no but. It's either you love it or you don't love it. Are you loving what you do? And if you're not loving what you do, you're clearly off path. Get back on path and stop struggling and start producing. When you're doing what you love, you don't have to think about it. When I'm sitting here talking to you, I don't think about, what am I going to say next? I'm not nervous because I don't know what to say. Everything that comes out of me and to you guys is stuff that I'm supposed to be saying and doing. I love what I do. I love this. I love my dirty desk. I love the fact that I can do these things. I love that I can have that group and that we can help people. I love speaking in public. I love ads. I actually love making ads. I love making new connections, So ask yourself, do you love it? Or are you doing something that feels slimy to you? Or are you doing something because you need the money? If you're doing it because you need money, that's the wrong reason to do it. Don't do it because you need the money. Do it because you love it, and then you'll make crap loads more money than you ever did trying to push that freaking car up the hill. If you just look behind you, guess what? It's downhill that way. Turn around, jump in the car, roll it downhill. Quit trying to push it uphill. But yet everybody does that with their business. They're like, yes, when I'm pushing. It's way faster. Just go that way. Just turn around and make an about face. And you'll be surprised at just how quickly things turn around for you if you're not tied to the fact that you already built the car, you've already spent all this time building leg muscles. What am I going to do? I already built all this stuff, and I put all this money and energy into it, and I can't walk away from it now because then I think I'm going to be a quitter, and I can't be a quitter because everyone tells me I shouldn't be a quitter. If it's not what you love, then run away, do something different. So my advice to you, if you're struggling, don't. There's no need for it.
Mike, I've got butterflies in my tummy. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Seriously, you've just, anyway, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. Really, really good talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mike Hill. Now, Mike has got, quite a lot of companies, but I know that he's working on a project right now called the Marketing Results Lab, and I will be putting details of that as it comes about, so that you and I can hopefully take more advantage of this incredibly knowledgeable and inspirational chap. But thank you very much for joining us. I do hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. I have really learned an awful lot today, and thank you very much for your time and for joining us from Montana, Mike.
No, thank you, and thank you to everyone. I appreciate it. That's all I can say.